Hello. Let me see. Hi, everyone. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Lynn. Maybe Dave. Pat, good morning. And Stan, good morning. And Stevie, and whoever else. So, yeah, just, oh my gosh, I get so happy when I think of you guys and I think about our times together in the flesh. All right. So, um, last week, sorry, I was in Cabo San Lucas. I had every intention of teaching live. I was able to on Thursday for osteoporosis, and then my girlfriend had arranged a boat trip, and I just couldn't not go on that. So I was on a girls' trip, which was a pretty amazing, and we went on a boat, and then we swam to our private little beach, and I had everybody do yoga. So I had everybody do warrior two and tree pose. Can't help it. Everywhere I go, just have to do something because I think it's really important. So anything anybody would like to say, ask any questions. I had an intention for today's practice because I know a lot of people are having back issues. So I would really like to focus today on something that can be really important for those that have back issues. And then we all have a back, so we all need to have a strong, mobile, spacious spine. Ooh, I like that. Oh, can you see what happened right now? I did not see that request and what I was going to do. So that's really interesting, right? Crazy. All right. So for today, the focus is going to be on creating more spaciousness in the body, creating more of a release in the body, and the part of the body that I want to focus on is the deepest muscle in our body. And this muscle in particular attaches to the lumbar spine. It also attaches to the lower leg, the inner lower leg bone, the inner upper leg bone. To the lower body is what I was trying to get at. And it's the only muscle that actually attaches upper and lower body. And this muscle, when we're in a seated position, which we find ourselves in often, probably even more than our ancestors, not just probably, but really more than our ancestors. They didn't sit at the rates that we sit. And if they did, it wasn't in chairs, right? So it wasn't shortening this muscle in particular. This muscle actually, also from an emotional standpoint, is said to be our fear muscle. So when there is real stress or even perceived stress, when your body feels threatened, there can be a stimulation of trying to keep you safe. And this muscle that's deep in our body, it's called the psoas, and it is 14 to 16 inches in length from the tip of the middle finger to the inner elbow joint. It's this length, and it's about the girth of your wrist. And I remember one time in one of my yoga therapy trainings, someone said her friend who was a gynecologist or OB-GYN told her that she's seen the psoas often, because she was doing surgeries, and she saw that, and she said it is about the girth of your wrist. So this is this big muscle that we all have that's attached to at the 5 lower lumbar. Some people it actually attaches a little higher onto the thoracic spine, but the 5 lower lumbar vertebra, and then it attaches to another muscle that's here in the pelvis, and it then goes on to the inner upper thigh bone. So this muscle, when your body feels threatened, can actually contract to put you into this position. If you were being attacked, you go into this position, to go into a flexed position to protect yourself. So the psoas that's in our body can be stimulated and triggered to contract throughout the day, even if we're watching something on TV that the body feels threatened by. So that's why it's really important that we pay attention to what we bring in, because that word stress, we stress ourselves out sometimes unknowingly. And whatever you're consuming with your eyes and your ears, whatever information you're bringing into your body has to manage that. And then from a physical perspective, the muscles are going to contract, or the blood's going to go to the big muscles if your body thinks you need to flee. So that fight-flight response, really need to pay attention to what we bring in for that. So for today's practice, I'd like to focus on the psoas, bringing your awareness to the psoas. All 5 lower back bones, all 5 lower back bones, and then to the inner thigh. So we're gonna raise our awareness to this muscle. We're gonna stretch this muscle, create length in this muscle, which is also gonna free up tension that is held in the low back. And so for those of you with low back issues, this will be particularly a valuable practice today for you. So for the practice today, please get a block, get a strap and a blanket. And at some point, not sure about the chair, maybe we'll see if we're gonna be doing that, any of that. All right, so putting your blanket up at the top of the mat, and then come to your side. So whether or not you have osteoporosis, I want to raise your awareness to the front of your spine, and remember the psoas is attached to the 5 lower vertebrae. We want to keep our spine nice and long as we come down. So come onto the side of your body, on the side of your buttock and your hip area. Then take the arm that's here, keep it straight, and if you feel a little uncomfortable, you can put the other hand on the ground. And then lengthen your spine as you bring yourself all the way down onto the ground. And then when you get down onto the ground, you can move your body so that your blanket is underneath your head. I'd like your blanket to be a very thin fold. And for some of you, I'm going to even suggest that you take your blanket away. So before you do that, the gravity that's pushing down on us right now, we have the opportunity to do a little bit of deep stretching in the upper back and neck. And so using gravity, using a small fold of the blanket underneath your head so that you can get a little bit of opening and stretch in the upper back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to elevate our pelvis and do a supported bridge pose to come into the beginning of the practice. So this is the way we're going to begin our practice. It's in an inversion, meaning that the lower body is higher than the heart, higher than the head. So the blood flow is going to increase to the head. It actually could lower blood pressure because the fluids of the body are going to now be moving with gravity to come up faster than they would if you were lying flat. The only people that should not do this are those that have unmanaged high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure and it's being managed by medications, then this is a safe posture for you. So you take the block, let me show you how to do this. So you're going to take your block. Before you come up, I want you to make sure that you don't have a lot underneath your head because that's a lot of pressure down and you don't want that to go into your neck. So either have a small fold of the blanket or take the blanket away completely because we are going to be lifting up. And then you're going to take your block, walk your feet closer to your body. Begin by pressing your low back towards the ground. That's going to tilt the pelvis backwards. And then lift the spine, peel the spine up. Take the block and place the block on the top edge of your pelvis first. So place it on the top edge of the pelvis and then feel the rest of your pelvis finding its rest on the block. Take your arms, bend your elbows and dig your arms into the ground. Lift your chest up and away from the ground and slide the shoulder blades towards each other as close to the spine as you could get them. And then let the shoulder blades rest on the ground. Have your eyes open so you can be very aware of what's happening. Toes are pointing forward. Feet are as wide as your body or a little closer together. Whatever feels more appropriate for your body. And the eyes are still open. If you'd like to have your hands rest on your belly, you could do that. Or you could take your arms out to the sides with the palms facing upwards so that you feel this lift in your chest and you're not caving and collapsing your chest. And then when you get to where you're going, close your eyes. Let's bring some length into the head. So lift the head up a little bit, tuck the chin towards the chest, the back of the head, and feel the pressure right in the center of the head. Breathing down to your belly. Deep breaths down to your belly. Eyes are closed. Palms are up towards the sky or hands are on the belly. Close your mouth, breathe in and out through your nose. Bring your awareness with breath. And start to breathe down to your lower ribs. And then breathe down to your belly. Feel your belly rise and fall. Take 5 more breaths down to your belly. Feel your belly stretch. Breathing down to your pelvic floor. Breathing down to the back where your sacrum and tailbone are. Finishing up your last breath. Let's go into a longer stretch of our body, and in particular our psoas, the muscle that's attached to all 5 low back bones. It attaches to a muscle that's in the pelvis and in the inner thigh. So as you inhale, lengthen your left leg slowly, slide the heel on the ground, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. The block is underneath your body, or if that's too high, you could put a blanket there, or even do this without anything. Lengthen your left leg. Left leg is straight, right knee is bent. And then take the left arm up as far as your body will let you. Stretch your left side. Take deep breaths to the left lower belly, to the left psoas. Breathe back to the back of the body on the left side. And take one more breath. Slowly bring your arm back to the side, bring your left leg in. Take a breath here to relax. And on your next inhale, slide your right heel and lengthen the right leg. Let your right leg relax. Going slow to check in with your body to make sure that whatever you're doing is appropriate. Bring your awareness to your right hand. As you lengthen your right hand long, right leg long. And then breathe to your right side body, the whole right side. Breathe to your right psoas, attached to the low back, attaches in the pelvis to a muscle, and then to the lower leg bone, inner thigh. Breathe back to your right sacrum, right tailbone, right side of the sacrum, right side of the tailbone. One more breath. Bend the right knee, bring the right knee back in, right arm to the side. Let everything relax. Eyes are closed so you could feel what feels appropriate for you. If you have the block underneath your pelvis, you're stretching yourself beyond its normal range of motion, stretching the hip joint, spine, putting some pressure maybe in the lower back, the tailbone and sacral area, so the pelvis and the SI joint. So with the eyes closed, check in and see how this feels for you. Let's explore going to straight legs. If you don't have a block, you could use a rolled up blanket. Go to straight legs. Let your heels be helping you here. Balance your weight. Then take your arms overhead. If you'd like, you could flex your heels and flex your wrists, reaching through the heels of your feet, reaching through the heels of your hands to be as long as you could be. Stretch your body, pull your ribs away from your pelvis. Breathe to your belly. Breathe to your psoas muscle on either side, from the belly button all the way down to the inner thighs. One more breath. And then go ahead and bend your knees, bring your knees in, bring your arms to the side. Let your body settle. Let go of any held tension. And then let's walk the left leg in and the right leg. So you're balancing on the block, or if you don't have a block, you could do a blanket, or if you need to be on the ground, be on the ground. And let's begin to unbend one leg at a time. Go slow here. Feel the hamstring stretch behind the thighs. Inhale to unbend, exhale to bend. Go slow.
Try to start leading with the heel to go a little deeper in your legs. Knees right above the pelvis is going to work the core using that psoas, strengthening the psoas. It's one of the hip flexor muscles. Let's do both feet together. If having the knees above the block is too intense for you, draw the knees a little closer to your chest. That'll take some tension off. And if you need to take the block out, take the block out. Inhale to unbend, exhale to bend. Go slow here so you could repattern any dysfunctional movements in your body. Last one, you're going to inhale to unbend. Stay here. Exhale. Inhale, point the feet. Exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Exhale, flex. Using your psoas, strengthening the psoas. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. And start to move your legs around in circles. Go slow. The feet go in slow circles, like you're making a circle on the ceiling. And then go in the other direction. Let's bend the knees. Put the feet down on the floor one at a time. Let your body settle. Close your eyes. See if you could feel the blood leaving the feet when you raise the legs. When you put the legs down, the blood comes back into the feet. So the inversions and the inverted postures, the upside down postures, they help to bring the fluids back up to the upper body. It also can stimulate relaxation, and the parasympathetic nervous system relaxes your cardiovascular needs and helps to regulate the respiratory system. When you breathe in and out through your nose, when you intentionally slow down the movements and you move with breath. Let's reach down and take the block out. Walk the feet closer to your body. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis up and away. And then lengthen your pelvis away from your ribs before you put your pelvis down. So push your pelvis away from your ribs. Tilt the pelvis back so that the lower spine comes down onto the ground. And reach up, grab your blanket, bring your blanket back underneath your head. Let your knees be a little bit wider than your body. And then draw one knee in at a time. Letting the low back go on the ground, rocking side to side. So you may feel a little tension from having the body weight at that top edge of your sacrum, top edge of the pelvis. Let's go into a happy baby. So hold on behind the left leg, hold on behind the right leg. Take your legs wide, soles of the feet are pointing up towards the sky, and then pull your knees towards your armpits, stretching the low back, stretching that sacral area. Maybe a little rocking side to side if that feels appropriate. If you can, reach up and hold on to your big toes. If your legs have to be spread wide here, so don't do it if you have to bring your feet together to do that. It's not better to hold on to your big toes. It's just for those that have a little bit more flexibility in their body, they can get a deeper stretch. For those of you that are already feeling this with your hands underneath on the back of your legs, that's appropriate for you and good enough for you. Do what's appropriate for you. And then let's bring the feet onto the ground. Let your body settle. Let's take one hand directly coming onto the kneecap. So take the hand directly onto the kneecap and then hold on to your knee. And then let go of holding. So the psoas muscle attaches to the inner leg bone, and if you bring your knee up, that muscle's active. So hold on to this leg a lot, like shake it and hold on to it so you can let your psoas relax as you use your arms to help hold this leg up here. And then you're going to take your other hand and put it on top of the kneecap and hold on to that leg, and then let go. Feel that release happening in your body. And you may even experience that in the low back area or the sacral area. So your hands are really holding on tight. Your fingers are pressing into your legs around your knee because you're holding and supporting your knee. Take an exhale. Inhale. On the next exhale, draw the knees straight towards your chest. Feel the low back rocking and flattening into the floor. Elbows are out to the side. Top thighs press strongly into the belly. And then inhale to lengthen your arms, unbending your elbows, letting your knees move away from you. And your hands are moving the knees. Exhale to draw the knees in. Inhale to push the knees back away from you. Exhale in. Inhale away. Do a couple, matching your breath with the movement. See if you can feel your low back pressing into the ground all the way up to your low ribs. Feel the pelvis rocking forward and backwards. Draw the knees all the way in. Switch your hands to around the sides, holding onto the shins, and squeeze your knees into your chest. Feel the thighs pressing into your abdomen and up to the chest. Feel the low back being pressed into the ground and the middle back being pressed into the ground. Contracting your psoas. And then go ahead and release. Let your feet go back down. Let your hands go into your belly. Let everything relax. So now we're going to start to lengthen the psoas. Starting at the belly button to the inner thigh. So we're going to do a windshield wiper action. And when we let our knees go to the side, the knee that's to the side, the psoas on that side is lengthening because it's attached to the inner leg bone. So you have the opportunity to lengthen this. And because that's attached to your lumbar spine, you want to make sure you're protecting your low back when you come back up. So when you inhale to lengthen, you exhale to contract and bring yourself back up to center. So take your feet really wide here. Bring your awareness to your pelvic floor, which is the base of your torso, and your core, which is your corset that protects you. You could either visualize an orange in the middle of your tummy that you're squeezing the heck out of to squeeze the juice in the very center of your body, or you could visualize a zipper, like a tight pair of jeans where you have to draw your belly away from the zipper. So whatever gives you the most feeling of contraction in this part of your body, you're going to do that on your exhale to bring your leg back up to center. So let's do a couple of practices, little warming up of the core and the pelvic floor. Take an inhale. As you exhale, contract your pelvic floor and your core and zipper all the way up, 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 up to right where the breastbone is, and then inhale to release. Exhale to contract, center, back and up, and then release. Be pretty strong here so you're actually able to tilt your pelvis back when you do this and flatten your low back into the ground. Close your eyes. Inhale to release. Exhale, contract. Inhale, release. Take your arms out to the side. We're going to go into the windshield wiper action. Exhale. Inhale, let your legs lengthen to the side. Exhale, zipper up your core, bring yourself back up to center. Inhale to lengthen to the other side. Exhale back to center, zipper, zipper, zipper. Try to let your legs be as far away from your body as possible as they lengthen to the side. Last one to each side, closing your eyes, feeling the lengthening in your body as you inhale to the side. And exhale back to center. Bring yourself all the way back. Walk your feet in, walk your feet closer, and then the knees to the chest. Let's bring yourself onto your side. Let your body calibrate to this new direction. Take your hand on the ground, look down at your hand. You're going to use the elbow that you're resting on, your hand that's on the ground, your top leg. So this is another thing. We want to make sure that we use our body properly and use as many muscles as properly and not just the same ones all over and over. And if you have back issues, if you try to roll to your back and pull yourself up like this, that is going to aggravate that situation. So coming forward, looking down, hand is on the ground, elbow is here, top knee is bent. Inhale, exhale, push with your elbow and your hand the most. That's what's bringing you back up. All right. So let's take the blanket, bring the blanket to the center of the mat. Bring yourself onto your blanket. Come here onto your blanket. Take your hands down. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Now, when you're inhaling up, I want you to feel these ribs pulling away from your pelvis. So creating as much length here. Thinking about that psoas, which is from here to your inner thigh. Actually, I think I did this at the class once. It's really interesting, the anatomy of the body. But the psoas is actually about inner elbow to fingertip. And if you take your hand, your arm alongside your body, your elbow is pretty close to where the top of the lumbar spine is. And then your pinky actually goes right where the psoas attaches onto the body. So it really is interesting. You can almost put your hands here to show yourself where that is. So when you are reaching up, think about lengthening that muscle, and then everything else will stretch as well. Bring your hands down alongside your body. Inhale and exhale. One more. Inhale and exhale. Let's do a lateral stretch. You're going to bring your arm up and side bend. One hand goes down, one hand goes up. If your shoulder doesn't like to be lifted up like that, you can bring your elbow up, lengthening your body. Take one more breath and then bring yourself down. Let's do the other side. Inhale up, lengthen. Feel your tissue stretch. You're not just doing something and just trying to put yourself there. I want you to feel the tissue stretch, the intention of why we're in this lateral bend. Feeling that stretch. Maybe you feel the hip. Maybe you feel the obliques, the core muscles, the back muscles. This actually is good for the back. It helps to stretch the back.
Point your tailbone down towards the ground, so maybe a little posterior tilt to protect low back. And then bring yourself back up and out. Let's stretch the psoas here. So if you take your foot out to the side, your psoas is here, attaching here. Now you're creating length on this side. Point the toes forward and then stretch, feel the stretch in the heel as well. Take your hand down here. We're gonna lengthen our body and do a little side bend with the upper torso. So we're actually gonna stretch the top part of the psoas on this side. Take your hand down alongside your body, exhale. And as you inhale, come up with your hand reaching down your leg and your other hand up. You could be on your elbow, could be up towards the sky, hand on your shoulder if that feels better for you. Stretch your body, press your heart forward, point your tailbone down. Feel that deep stretch in your body, that whole hip area. And then here, lengthening the lower part, the tendinous part of the psoas on this leg. Keep your arm alongside your body. Don't let it collapse forward. Look either up or straight ahead or even down. Take one more breath and then bring yourself out. Let's go to the other side. Take the leg out. Toes are pointing forward. Take your hand down alongside your leg, the other hand here. Take an exhale. And then you're going to inhale up, lengthen. Feel that stretch somewhere. Lift your heart, tailbone down. And get to the point where you can actually tell whether it feels the same on both sides. You could direct your body, position your joints so that you actually really get to the muscles you're trying to get to. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Come all the way out of that. The next thing that we're going to go into is a little bit of a lunge where we actually really extend from the top of the psoas to the bottom of the psoas. So whatever leg is back gets a really big stretch here. And I'll give you different modifications for this because this can actually be aggravating if you go too intensely. And that's because it's considered weight bearing, because we are in this kneeling position and we're putting body weight in the area that we're stretching. So we're actually going to bring some more intensity. So you'll need to determine what's appropriate for you. Let's get the block. The block will be helpful for some of you. Bringing the block here. So bring a leg forward. I want you to go slow with this. So can you put your body weight to the other side? Can you slide that foot forward and then bring the foot forward? See if you could do that as opposed to swinging it around the outside. And then when you get here, you want to make sure that you have this alignment of kneecap on top of the heel. And I'd like you to just be here in this position because there's a lot of balance challenge that takes place here. And I just want you to experience this. So you're in this hip distance position, toes are pointing forward, hands are down alongside the body, head is lifted. Breathing down to your belly. And then if you're able to close your eyes, see if you could close your eyes. It's going to bring a lot more challenge. So don't do it if you're already having trouble and you're wobbly. The back toes are going to press into the floor. The front foot's going to press into the floor. And whatever hip you're on, whatever knee's on the ground, that's the hip joint you're balancing in right now. And then go ahead and come out. Let's take the foot forward and a little bit to the side. That'll give you a little bit more stability. Unless you want that challenge, you could be coming right off of your body. But walk your foot forward. You have your block here if you need it. You have a hand here in your thighs. Let's take both hands on the thighs if you can. And if you need the block, you can have the block next to you and put your hand on the block. Let's take an exhale. And then we're going to inhale slowly. Bring yourself forward. And that back psoas, whatever knee is on the ground, that side, you're stretching your psoas muscle, along with other muscles as well. So your whole torso needs to come forward. You're actually bending the knee and the hip. The front knee and the front hip get or what's bending. And then you're gonna exhale to come out. Bring your awareness to the front hip and the front knee. You're gonna inhale to lengthen, keep your gaze up, come forward as much as your back leg will let you. Exhale out. One more, you're gonna inhale forward, stay here. Hands are on your legs, push away, lift your heart up, pull your ribs away from your pelvis, stretch the top part of the psoas and the bottom. You're gonna take your hand first, this is step level 1. Take your hand on the block, your hand forward, bring yourself forward here. And then you're going to add rotation, so lengthen your spine, and then turn your heart, the level of your heart, over to this side. So that would be level 1. Level 2 would be to take your elbow on the inside of the knee, your hands together, push your hands together, lengthen your spine and rotate. That's level 2, or the next place to go. Level 3 would be to flip the back toes under, to lift the back knee off. Keep yourself low here, lengthen your spine and rotate towards the side. And do what's appropriate. This is weight bearing stretching, so it's going to be more pulling on the muscles. Make sure it's a level of appropriateness for you, because you can actually aggravate the low back here and aggravate the front of the hip joint if you're not ready for this. Breathe down to your back hip, the back leg. Take one more breath. You're going to dismount gracefully, so come out slowly. Bring yourself all the way out. Bring yourself all the way up. Bring your foot back. You're either going to stay up here to rest, or if your knees will let you, come and sit on your heels and rest. Noticing the heart. A lot of big muscles are used in that, especially if you lift your knee off. If the heart's beating fast, it needs more oxygen. Deep rest down to your pelvis. One more breath. And then go ahead and open your eyes. Let's go to the other side. So you bring yourself up. Take your block here. The block is here for those that need it or want it. And you're going to bring the opposite foot forward. So bring your body weight onto the leg you're going to be standing on. Slide your toes forward and bring that foot forward. Then find the balance. If you can, close your eyes, close your eyes. It adds a whole different level because the eyes are a part of balance. You're balancing on one hip joint. Your body has to figure out where the heck you are. So this is going to strengthen your balance. Proprioceptic balance receptors. Where are you? Where are you? Last breath, challenging your balance. And you're going to take your foot forward, because we're going to lean into that, or lunge into that. Bring your foot forward. You could have both hands on top of your thigh, if you'd like, or one hand on the block. Take an inhale and an exhale. And on your inhale, we're lengthening the psoas on this back side. Bend the knee, bend the hip. Exhale back up. Think about that front hip and that front knee. Let that be where the movement goes. Let your body weight go forward. Let the back hip joint unbend. Inhale into the stretch because we're lengthening the psoas. Exhale out. And you're going to come forward and hold. So bring yourself forward. If you'd like, you could take your hand on your block, making sure your spine stays long. That's the key here. Really nice long spine. Hand can be on the block, and then you lengthen your spine and you rotate the heart over to the side. That's going to add rotation and more stretch on that psoas. If you're ready to go to the next level, you can take your hand on the outside of the knee, palms are together, long spine and rotation. Feel that all the way down in that waist and the hip and the front of the thigh. And then if you're going into the last variation, you flip your toes under, you come up, press the front foot into the ground, the back feet into the ground, long spine, and then rotate. And deep breaths down to that back thigh, the front thigh or the waist. One more breath. Dismount gracefully. Resting wherever you need to rest. Deep breaths down to your belly, especially if your heart is pretty accelerated here. Last breath. Let's move on to our next challenge for the psoas. We're going to come into another strengthening move for the psoas with levels, so you choose what you'd like. Bring your knees to the back of the mat. Take the block off to the side. Bring your hands onto the mat, and then take your hands forward, pointer fingers are forward. And then your pelvis, you're going to let your whole torso come forward. So your pelvis comes closer to the ground. You're going to activate your pelvic floor, zipper up your core, and push your low back up towards the sky. So supported bridge pose. Trying to bring lower ribs closer to the top thigh, activating a contraction of the core muscles, the psoas, and other muscles. Take one more breath. Bring yourself out. Let's take yourself onto your fingertips. Come back, come back. Take your wrist, shake your wrists. Move your wrists around in a circle. And then let's come back. We're going to come into, you could stay in that modification of plank or come into a full plank. Fingers are spread. Take one foot back. Make sure that all 5 toes touch. Take the other foot back. Make sure all 5 toes touch. Press your feet into the floor. Press your hands into the floor. Bring your awareness to your inner thighs all the way up through your pelvis to your low back. Lengthen from there. Lengthen that psoas. Tailbone points down. Pull the ribs away from the pelvis. Push the belly button up towards the spine. Zipper up and activate your core.
Push your fingertips into the floor, your feet into the floor. Take one more breath. Bring one knee down, bring the other knee down. Take your hands forward and wide, forward and wide. And then you're gonna bend your hip joint. Bend your hip joint. Let your tailbone point pretty high. Don't let the tailbone come down. Keep bringing your heart closer to the ground, heart closer to the ground, and then rest your forehead on the ground. Take one more breath. Leading with your head, lift your head first. Use those upper back and neck muscles. Keep your spine safe. Bring yourself back. Let's get the block. So one of the best ways to strengthen the front of the hip joint is when we do planks. Pressing the feet into the floor. So whether you're in a modification of plank or a full plank, you push your feet into the floor or your knees and lower shins if you're in the modification. And then when you press, so that's going to really activate the lower body and especially right by this hip joint. And then when you, whatever you do with the upper body, the forearms, really strengthening the shoulder girdle on the upper body. So let's take the block and we're going to hold the block like this so the elbows are block distance, not out to the side. Keep your elbows really close, like in a neutral position. You're going to be, your knees are going to be at the back edge of your mat, and you're going to bring your block forward, bring your elbows onto the ground, flatten your toenails. You could stay here in the modification, zippering up your core, trying to flatten the lower back up towards the sky, or unbend the knees, bring yourself off into a full dolphin plank or forearm plank. Press the hands into the block, push away from the ground, lengthen your spine. Push your feet into the floor, push your heels back. If you want to be fancy, feet a little closer, 1 foot at a time, extra strength for that hip flexor area, the hip joint, including psoas, and then the other side. Take one more breath, and then slowly let your pelvis come down to the blanket. Keep your block here, squeeze your block, push your arms into the ground, elbows into the ground. Push your rib cage forward and then away from the floor. Take your legs wide. Pubis bone, the base of your pelvis, presses into the ground to help protect the low back. So really lengthen, pull your rib cage away from your pelvis. Breathe down to your belly. Don't let your head hang. Active head, even if the eyes are closed. Active muscles that support the head. Exhale. Inhale, let your head look over your shoulder slowly towards the heel. This is going to stretch the opposite side, the top part of the psoas. Exhale back to center. Inhale, looking back and over, and back to center. Go slow. Notice if you have the same amount of rotation available in your body to look over one side and to look over the other.
Keep your head high when you look up and back. Bring yourself back to center. Put your block off to the side. Long spine as you bring yourself down onto the ground. Bring your elbows out to the side. Fold your hands. Let your head rest on the back of the hands. Bend your knees. Let your legs go side to side. Let your feet go back down on the ground. Let's bring your awareness to the right leg. Take the right leg away from your body, so spread the right leg away from the body. Then start to bend the knee and bring your body onto the inner knee, the inner thigh, the inner knee. Stretching the bottom part of the psoas. Flex your heel, toes are pointing away from you, bend your knee. Don't bring your leg higher than the hip. And then rest, try to press the top part of the hip, the top inner thigh bone closer to the ground. Use your body to find that. Stretching that hip joint, stretching the bottom part of the psoas. Take one more breath. Slowly slide that leg, bring it back to neutral. Let your body settle, toenails are touching the ground. Take your left leg wide. Start to roll onto the inner knee and let the left leg go out to the side. Last breath. And bring your leg back. Let your leg rest. Let everything go. Toenails touch the floor. Let's come up into Sphinx. Elbows are underneath the shoulders. Make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. They're not over to the side and they're not too far forward. And then take your hands, hold on to your elbows. Walk yourself over to one side. Walk yourself over to one side. Actually, come over to the right. It'll be easier to follow along if you do that. So let's walk yourself over to the right. Push your elbows into the ground. Push your left elbow into the ground and really pull your ribs away from the floor. So you're pulling up towards the sky. Feel that stretch on the lower left side. Maybe you could unbend your elbows, push your left hand in and come up a little bit higher. Your body is looking over towards the right. You'll feel that lower left stretch. So either stay down or lift up a little bit, whatever feels appropriate for your body. Feel that stretch. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back. Let's come all the way over to center. Let everything settle. Coming back to neutral. And then walk yourself over to the left. Pushing the right elbow into the ground, lifting your lower belly away, long spine and lifting. So feel those lower right ribs pulling away from the pelvis and then pushing away, lifting away from the floor. Deep breaths to your right side. One more breath. Keep your head active. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Bring yourself forward. Rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Let everything settle. Legs are wide as the mat. Push your pelvis side to side. Push it so that you're moving it, but then you allow for a little bit of, you let it settle. So don't keep it active the whole time where you're rocking a lot. Rock pretty quickly and then let everything settle, like a Jell-O mold that you push and it still moves when you stop touching it. You want your bones to settle in the tissue. Let everything be really soft here and move pretty strongly, and then let the bones settle in the tissue as you let go of the muscles. And then relax. One more breath. Take your left hand long, roll onto your left side. Cradle your head with your left hand. Bend your left knee. You're on that side. Take the top leg, the right leg, and bend the leg. See if you can grab hold of where the ankle and the foot meet, or maybe even the pants or socks or shorts. Try to get your leg to come straight off your body. So try not to let it be too high. Don't let it be too forward. Try to let the leg come straight off your body so there's no bend in the joint. Then let that right shoulder open, push your heart forward. Stretching your quadriceps. One of these muscles is a hip flexor, and this is lengthening the psoas on this side. So thinking of your psoas, 5 lumbar vertebra attaching to that muscle here and then on the inner thigh. So let your right side be as long as it can be. Think of that kneecap pointing straight away from you. Heel towards the tush. Take one more breath. You're going to bring yourself out. We'll go to the other side. So you're going to come back onto your belly. Let your right hand reach up. Roll onto your back. Bend your right leg. Cradle your head. Take your left leg. Bend the leg. Either grab where the foot and the ankle meet, the pants, the socks, the shorts, whatever. And try to get your leg to come straight off your body. You can bend that back elbow. Lengthening that leg, try to let it be right coming out of your body. Don't let it be too high, too forward. Think about lengthening the whole left side.
Take one more breath. Bring yourself back to center. Arms out to the side, let your forehead rest, let everything settle. Breathe down to your belly and let that push up towards your low back. Bring yourself, so you're either going to come up into a cobra and stretch, or you're going to come up into seal and stretch if you're able to get a pretty big bend in your spine. So do what's appropriate for you here. Either hands are alongside, elbows are bent, lengthening your rib cage forward and pushing up, or you go a little wider, you push yourself forward and up and come up feeling that pretty strong stretch in the belly area. Part of that being stretching the top of the psoas, the abdominals. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Bring yourself onto a side. Bring your knees in. Take your hands. Bring yourself all the way up. And then let's take the blanket to the top of the mat. Bringing yourself down. Keep your spine long. Reach your hand long and come down. Grab your strap. Bring one foot in, put the strap on one foot, and then bring the other leg up. So this can stretch the low back, stretch the glutes, pressing the low back into the floor. This can be a nice way to take the tension out of the back of the body that affects the low back. Take your hands down the strap, wrap your hands down. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. Feet are a little wider than your body. And then draw the legs slowly towards the wall behind you. You could have a bend in your legs, or you could try to have straight legs. Let it be really relaxing so that the low back presses towards the ground. You feel a stretch in the low back, a stretch in the glutes, maybe a stretch behind the legs. Lift your head up, nice long back neck. One more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Take your legs a little wider and draw the knees towards your armpits, legs back towards the wall. Have your feet really wide here. This can really help to settle the low back. You can bend your knees a little deeper if you'd like. Breathe down to your belly, breathe down to your low back. Take one more breath. Bring your feet back to center. Take the strap off. Draw your legs into your chest and rock side to side. It's time for Shavasana, time to allow the integration of everything done in the practice to settle into your bones, your joints, your muscles, all the connective tissue, and then deeper, more subtly into your memory, your body's memory, and into your cells, your soul, from cells to soul. Let your legs go wide, really wide. Let the toes flop open. Let the arms either go out to the side or on the belly. Let go, let go. Bring your awareness to your breath. Notice how your body feels. Begin to bring movement to your hands, your feet. Bring your legs so that they're hip distance. Bending the knees one at a time. Drawing the knees into your body one at a time. Rocking. Come onto your side. Pushing yourself up. Come into a seated position. Bring your hands to your heart to your hands. Press strongly with your hands. Press them together and press them against your chest. Helps to activate your postural muscles to support your upper back and neck. We're going to close with a humming sound, keeping the mouth closed. Exhale, create a lot of space in your body. Inhale deeply.
In gratitude, namaste. When we do a practice that's deep and intentional, especially when there's any focus on the low back or muscles that are attached to the back, in this case, the psoas muscle, we need to tread lightly because there is so much protection in the low back, there's so much of our body protection is there physically, that anything we're doing, the body is going to be, whoa, what's happening here? You're stretching me, you're pulling me, you're pushing on me. So it's really important whenever you do anything that's going to focus on the back of your body, that you bring your awareness, you bring your breath, you are so, you really pay attention to what's appropriate for yourself. And after you do a practice that's for the back, especially if there's a lot of space creation, we're trying to create space in the joints and in the muscles that attach to the low back, then usually you notice the benefits after you get up and away from the practice. And so pay attention to how the practice was for you today, and that will give you the appropriate indicators for what's appropriate for you. Should you do this version, this version, this version? Should you stay with the beginning part for a while, or are you ready to proceed? All right, so how was that for you all? Nancy, hi. Let me know how that was for you. Okay, good, Joanne. So I'm glad that was good for you. Joanne, last week I played pickleball. I don't know if you played pickleball. I know you're a big tennis player. I played pickleball for the first time ever, and the girls told me I was the quickest study ever, the best first-time player ever. But, you know, I did play tennis for, 12 years, 5 days a week. So I do have that knowledge of tennis. Pickleball is definitely different. And, you know, it was crazy. I was obsessed. I'm like, let's play more. And so I think we played for 2.5 or 3 hours, and I have not played tennis really like that for, maybe 11 years, maybe 11 or 12 years, ever since my hip issues. And my joints were sore. I'm like, wait, I'm really strong. I'm in good shape here. My joints were sore from all that movement. All right. So, okay, good, Stevie. Glad that was good for you. Okay, great, Dave. Always love to please you, Dave. That's a goal for me. Okay, good, Stevie. You're welcome, Lynn. Okay, good, Pat. All right, well, thank you all for being here. I hope Stan is still here, and I hope he feels okay, and Michael. Okay. Yeah, I was really good. I love to kill the ball, but honestly, it kind of brought out my competitive side that wasn't quite so nice. So I think I'm a nicer Debbie when I don't play. But I do think I want to do pickleball, so I'm going to look into pickleball because I was out of shape, like cardiovascular. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway. Oh, good. Okay, Stan. Glad you're here. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Please let me know how you feel after today. Those of you that text me and email me often, because I'd love to know if you notice it. Lynn, text me about Dave. Let me know how he feels off the mat, because that's important. And I would love to know that, because this could be a really good practice, that whole bringing your psoas to your practice with you. Let's practice yoga. Bring your psoas along. All right. I'm off. You know what I'm doing today? Can I say those of you that are still here? I'm going to be doing an Old Testament study group. I'm super intrigued with the Bible, and I was raised Protestant. Don't really go to church anymore. My husband's Jewish, raised my kids with Judaism, went to the temple, know a lot about that religion and faith. And I think that the girl running this, I think, is Jewish. So it's going to be studying the Torah. We're studying the Cain and Abel story. And I'm super fascinated because it's the most read book in the world. and I want to understand the wisdom, and I want to understand the wisdom in a non-biased way. So not necessarily the Christian perspective or the Jewish perspective, or whatever other religions have their philosophies based on the Bible or some of the wisdom in the Bible. So anyway, super excited about that. All right. Yeah, I think it's going to be so exciting to learn, like to just study. I want to understand what us humans, like this book is so important for so many different faiths. And it actually is the book of the Jews, right? The Old Testament is from the Jews, and actually Jesus Christ was a Jew. So that's always been super intriguing to me. So I can't wait, and I'm hoping that it's not too slanted in one direction, and there's a group of women. So hopefully we all bring something really cool. But anyway, I just love learning about how humans were helped themselves, healed themselves, how spirituality helped to guide us, helped to create moral framework for us. So that's what my day will entail. And I'll bring my SOAS to that discussion. All right. Yeah, I will. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.